Good afternoon, and welcome to another confusing episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your convoluted and convivial host, Voice of Doom. Alrighty. It's an hour before I have to go to work. I'm going to do a quick diatribe that's going to be off the cuff. Disjointed, confusing, and more or less just comments about what's happened in the last few hours. Okay, the Ukraine, talk about wars like over days now. It's like, it's been 3 days since the war started, and, we expect Kyiv to be, surrendering by the weekend. And it's like, things really happen fast nowadays. It's like, we expect it to be over by next week. We can go back to investing. But I'm hearing from the streets of the Ukraine that they're going to fight in the streets, and they're going to fight from behind corners of buildings and from rooftops, and they're going to make things miserable for the Ruskies, because you go in with boots on the ground and you get picked off. And then you have to take the tanks, and then you start blowing up civilians all over the place because the civilians are fighting. So they're combatants. So there's going to be lots of women and children being blown up. It's not going to be good. There's going to be a lot of wringing of hands and commiseration. There's going to be wondering what we should do. I guess yesterday I was talking no-fly zone, and today I'm saying that they're not going to do it, from what I hear. So forget about that. So the superior U.S. used to be SR, has a superior Air Force, and they're out. They have a superior in every way in their military. Okay. The Air Force is going to fly over to Kyiv and drop bombs, and it's going to be a big bloody mess. Now I'm hearing from people that the head leader of the USS, used to be R, is not in his right mind. And not just using that as hyperbole, but like he might seriously be insane. Okay. I don't know when they realized Schicklgruber was insane, but they may not have really thought so. Some people said, oh, he's crazy, but they didn't really know he was crazy until the very end of the war, when they realized how bad it was, how bad they were. But they're saying that this Putin character might be a little off his rocker. So now we have 3 madmen running the world, and I find that disconcerting, to say the least, because we have a madman who's openly attacking his neighbor and probably thinking that he's going to openly attack other countries. And if he does, there's going to be a problem. I don't know what they do about it, but I like to think logistically. And I can't really think logistically because I'm not a war person. But it seems like just things would escalate and other people would attack other things. The other madman, who doesn't care what happens to his country, so he's got nothing to lose. So he's probably going to look at the first madman and go, well, all right, he just went in full force, but really not full force. He thought he could go in with kind of a show of force, but not full on, you know, shock and awe that America, what used to be America, is known for. So we shock them and awe them into submission. So he's going to go, well, I'm going to do kind of like what he did, only I might be a little bit more aggressive, because then we can get it over with even faster. So I can't see anything but destruction and madness and badness coming. And then we have the madman on the western side of the planet. And he's mad, he's demented, and he's going to do everything wrong. And what they should do is, I mean, someone's making decisions. Now, if it's Petri dish, then we can see why everything's the way it is. But if it's advisors telling Petri what to say, then we just simply do the Costanza method of just whatever your idea is, let's do the exact opposite. Because you've been wrong every time. So whatever your idea is, if we do the exact opposite, we should be in a utopia in no time. Just keep giving us advice, we'll do the exact opposite, and all will be well with the world. So that's one logistic they could do. And it kind of occurred to me that, I don't know if most people think about this, but the U.S. government, or what used to be a sort of government, which is now a totalitarian regime, is not trustworthy. We don't know what the truth is with them, do you? And I've noticed that they've been very lax about keeping our larger cities in any kind of order. They've been very lackadaisical when it comes to letting homeless just live wherever they want and letting people loot whatever they want. It's almost as if it's a salvage operation to them. And I know most people probably wouldn't occur to them, but I like to think of different possibilities. And my possibility is there will be an exchange of nuclear and atomic missiles. And either the command and control personnel will be busy in their CRT or sensitivity training classes or taking a test to show that they pass, that they will not notice those missiles. And that's a possibility, that they could shoot maybe 200 atomic missiles at the United States and one or two might slip through because of they're preoccupied with racism and equity. So another possibility besides that is that the used to be government may plan all along to allow a couple cities to be decimated. And that's why they have allowed them to go to hell in a handbasket, because they know their cities are doomed. They're going to deliberately allow atomic bombs to destroy major cities in the United States. Just a possibility, but there used to be people that would do history books and do all kinds of conspiracy theories that F.D. Delano knew that there was going to be an attack on Pearl Harbor ahead of time, and he let it happen. And I find that hard to believe, because no matter how you cut it, you don't want your whole Western fleet demolished. That seems like an awful big price to pay to get us into the war. Unless the whole thing is a huge plot that, okay, then we'll pay people to get these bigwig, industrialists to build us more battleships. That's more work for everybody, and then, more whatever. I don't know. All I'm saying is they might deliberately let some atomic bombs through. And if we want to talk about possibilities, according to Ned, all possibilities are on the table. All options. What about the option that we bomb ourselves? I mean, who's going to be there to stop it or to say what happened? Because there's nothing but disinformation and misinformation everywhere. They've got us really confused to where we don't know what to believe. And if you don't know what to believe, you just don't believe anything. Okay? So you see what a pickle we've got ourselves into? I have about 4 minutes left, so I want to get back to the convoy, the People's Convoy, that Trump rally that's going to cause a big mess. All right, I'm going to get angrier as the days go by. They're in Oklahoma. They're making good time. I don't see any reason why they won't be rolling up into DFC in time for Petri Dish's big speech. Now, I like to think logistics. I like to think ahead. So I'm thinking, okay, wide open road. Trucks are getting honked at. They're getting support. I'm sure they're having no trouble at all with logistics on their end. But they're going to get to DFC. And if I was DFC, and when I say DFC, I mean the police state, those that are following the dictates of a liberal progressive ideology run amok. And this all depends on what their motives are too, so we'll get into that. Okay. We don't want the truckers to disrupt our president and disrupt our city, so we will block them off in Alexandria, Virginia. We will put up roadblocks. We will not allow any trucks past this point that aren't designated to make a delivery. So, in other words, they're going to blockade to a certain extent the area. And on the other hand, maybe they won't. Maybe they would love to have the trucks come rolling through because they've already labeled it a Trump rally. So if the trucks roll through and create a big ruckus while we're in the middle of an international crisis, then they can blame it all on Trump. So those are two distinct possibilities. And it's a toss-up. I think they're stupid enough to do the latter, which is good for the truckers. And then they're going to say, look at what disruptive insurrectionists. See what this guy started? And it's going to be, well, why didn't you block them off back in Alexandria? Well, we can't do it because Trump. It's really a toss-up because I think people are looking at them like, you called out the National Guard. Okay, what are you going to do? Have the National Guard start dragging truckers away? That's going to be interesting. I really want to see how that pans out. So either Alexandria blockades or National Guard confrontation. They're going to have their bouncy houses and everything, so it's not going to be a good scene. But I'm looking forward to it. I think the next 3 or 4 days are going to be really, really fun to watch. Really fun. So we'll see how it goes. I think I did a pretty good one. It's a little shorter than usual, but it was meaty. It had a lot of stuff in it. I'm happy with it. So I will get on with my day, and you enjoy the rest of your days. Let's see how many there are. Goodbye.